All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the 3rd day of January 2013. It is Thursday, the 3rd day of January 2013. Let me give you the results. Crude oil, we were plus a tick. The NQ, we were plus 3 ticks. Gold, we were plus 7 ticks. The Russell, we were minus 8 ticks. And soybeans, we were plus 3 ticks. So we were up overall on the day, but we ended up down on the Russell at the end of the morning session. We only actually took one trade on the Russell, and we ended up losing that one trade. I'll show you where I missed a whole bunch of them in a minute here. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to www.cfrn.net/apply. Sign up for the free trial. In the free trial, on that page, we only ask for your name and your email address. All right, so we can send off the information to you. The information we're going to send you will have a link to a video that shows you how to download the whole DT Pro charting package, including downloading the CFRN indicators. And once you've done that, if you want my layout so your charts can look just like mine, you just need to send a quick email to support@cfrn.net saying, please give me a layout. And I'll be happy to send it off to you with a video on how to import it. All right. Partners, there's a partners meeting tonight, 9 p.m. Non-partners, if you want to get into that partners meeting tonight, you must be a partner. If you do not know how to become a partner and you want to become a partner, or you just want to know how to become a partner, send an email to support@cfrn.net with the text partner info in the subject, and I'll send it all off to you. All right. If you're in here on the free trial and you want to get in there, you should already have an email in your inbox with all the information you need to become a partner. Now, that said, I've given the results. Let's start all the way over here to the left with crude oil. Okay? My left. Here we go. This is the crude chart. Sorry, it just occurred to me that you don't know what's over here on my left. But we started out right in here. All right. I don't necessarily want to skip all this. I'll go over it a little bit because this is being recorded, and this is probably good information for anybody that wants to review this later. I had identified in here in the morning session steps. Step 1, you get your bullish cross. Step 2, price pulls away from the BBC. That's what this little arrow is here. Step 3, price pulls back to it. Step 4, you check for divergence on the slingshot. And then you enter on the up close right here. Okay? Enter on the up close. That is all there is to it. That's trading the bounce off the BBC. All right? Now, there are other trades to take, and I'll show you the trades that I took and illustrate them through that. You can also, if it doesn't pull all the way back to the BBC, then you can get long based on closes above the trend line, continuation of the trend. All right, that's another thing that I teach in the live trading room, and partners meetings and one-on-one trading if you choose to become a partner and you want some of that. All right. I put all that on after I did this. My first trade of the day was right here. Okay, after the markets opened up, crude was moving up. This one didn't pull all the way back down to the BBC. It had a lot of momentum. It closed up above this trend line I drew on here, so I got long right in there. Moved my stop to break even, and I got out over here. All right, that actually slipped me a tick, so I lost one tick on it. The next trade that I took on crude oil was over here. We closed down. Below here. All right. Down below here, and this was a trend line I had drawn on here. Sorry, I just read the comments that were coming in about that, about the setups there. I'll get to that in just a sec. We closed down below the trend line that I had drawn on there, and it stopped me out right away. Okay, stopped me out right away. Yes, everyone that was in the live trading room this morning, I am going to send. I mean, even if you just signed up for it and you didn't even make it in, I'm going to send you a screenshot of those rules that I just showed you. Okay, all partners, those rules are going to be on. Those rules are going to be in the members area. Okay, though that screenshot will be in the members area for you to reference. All right. All right. Now over here, price pulled back up, tested the BBC, and gave a down close. We didn't want to take that because we had blue on the cycle down here. So step 1, we had the bearish cross. Step 2, we had the space. Step 3, we had a pullback. But down here, step 4, check for divergence. When I say divergence, you want to see the green line pulling away from this, and if you're going short, you want to see the cycle being red. All right. If that's not the case, then look for a close down below the trend line. You have to draw that trend line yourself, but I'll show you how. Look for a close down below that trend line. I got short right there on the close below the trend line. It moved down. It came back up. I got out break even. The next trade was over here. Similar thing. It happened, I was probably talking or something, and it closed down below the trend line right here. I got short. It went down here. I moved my stop to break even. It came back, got me out at break even. Then, step 1, step 2, step 3 was the pullback. Step 4 was the divergence. Enter on the down close. I entered on the down close, and I took profit down here. Now, that trade right there put me at plus 1 tick, okay? Because I had lost 1 tick on this one and 8 ticks on that one. That put me minus 9. This was 10 ticks profit I took over here. Put me at plus 1 tick on the crude oil for the day. I missed more trades in here. Let's see, I missed a bunch in here on the way up. It was going up. I even didn't highlight some of them. Right in here. As crude oil was moving up, there were more opportunities in there. As a matter of fact, right here, just a moment ago, there was an opportunity on the short side. Let's just show that. Now, we don't have any divergence to support this trade or the direction of this trade or the range of the trade. So it's not a trade that I would likely take in the live trading room. But we did get a close down below the trend line. We also bounced off the BBC. So we had 1, the space is 2, the pullback is 3, but we didn't have any divergence, so no step 4 down there. We did get a close down below that line. All right. On the other side over here, we had 1 was the cross, 2 was the space, 3 was the pullback. We do have some divergence here. Okay. This is bullish divergence right there. So 4 is the divergence. Enter on the up close. So right there would be the entry. Now this was during the break, so I didn't see this. But right there is the spot. Okay. You guys see all that? Over here, obviously it moved up and moved up. And you're coming off a higher swing, so it pulls down. Here's the space. 1 was way down here. 2 was the space in here. 3 is a pullback and test to the BBC. You do have divergence, but the cycle is red, so you need to close above the trend line. Close above the trend line's right there. So that was right at the end of the morning session. So you could have jumped in right there on the long side and, taken some profit out of that. The entry would have been 93.18. It moved up to 93.25 for 7 ticks profit. When it closes up above the MA1, I will usually bring my stop up to break even. Okay. Now this one over here, you guys heard me just say the down close right there was the spot to enter, right? That was it, and it just happened in front of you. What you're looking for now, the green line is all the way down, the cycle's heading down. You're looking for the green line to pull back up, price to pull back up toward the BBC. We can draw a trend line on the way back up once we have 2 bars going up that we can draw the trend line on. We can do that and look for another move down. All right, look for another push down. And that is all there is to it. That was crude oil. I spent a lot of time on crude. Let me show you the Russell, because the Russell's doing something similar to the crude right now, except it's in the other direction. We're pulling down here toward the BBC. We have some bullish divergence, but the cycle is red. So you're looking here at this bullish divergence. Price is pulling toward the BBC. So you're expecting it to bounce off the BBC. You need it to close above this trend line because the cycle is red. Now, that's what we're looking for. All right. If it closes above that trend line, you would anticipate this green line is going to turn up and work its way up into the cycle, and price should get up to this area right here at least. But let's go over the trade that I took this morning. All right. I missed this one right here. All right. I think I tried to fill on that, but I didn't get filled. I tried to fill on this, and I didn't get filled. And I did get filled on this one, and this stopped me out. That was my minus 8 ticks this morning on the Russell. All right. There was another opportunity right here I missed, another here I missed, another here I missed. Just eyeballing it. There was another one right here, but that was after the end of the morning session. All right, you see how this has touched the BBC here. Now look for the close above this trend line. Close above that trend line will be an opportunity to get long. All right. So here on the Russell, you can see almost the whole morning right here. If I back it out just a little bit, you can see the whole morning. There was this little move down where we had 2 trade opportunities, and then it moved up. And on the way up, there was one here that failed. I say failed. One here that pulled back and stopped me out. One here, one here, one here, one here that I didn't highlight, one here that I didn't highlight. For all these moves up, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 opportunities on the way up. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 opportunities, including the one that I lost, and 2 on the way down. All right, that was the Russell this morning. Now, what you should take away from this is not that there's a lot of indicators or that it looks complicated. What you should take away is that it's actually fairly simple, and we're using the same exact setup and indicators and risk, the same number of ticks risk on every single market. All right, so we're using the same thing across all the different markets. So all you have to do is just pick what market you like, stick the stuff on there, and trade it. All right, that was the Russell. Gold, we ended up plus on gold right over here. You can see I highlighted a bunch of areas in here where we missed trades this morning. This area right here, it's not a weekly trading zone. This was just an area that I was expecting it to get down to. When we were in this trade over here, I was saying I think it's going to get down to this level here. And you can see it did get down there, it bounced off it, and it got down there again right now. I didn't draw another level down below it, but I said this first line was the first level, and the second line was the next level down. For everybody that was in the live trading room this morning, you guys all saw me do that. For everybody that's looking at it now, obviously it's hindsight, and you didn't see me actually put these lines on here. But when the market was running this morning and it was moving around, there was an opportunity to get long here, 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 and even over here. If you would have gotten long on this last one right here, clearly you would have stopped out on it. But I was not looking at the gold at that time. I did look at it over here. There was an opportunity to get short right in there. Let's see, over here, this was the trend line, so there was no opportunity to go long there. It would have been a losing trade if you did, but there was no opportunity. Right here was a nice short. Here was another short. And this is the one that I actually took right here. All right, I got short on this when it closed down below this trend line. So all the stuff that I'm telling you about right now is stuff that I actually do in the live trading room in front of everyone. This is, I do one thing, and I do it over and over and over again. Okay. I did, Gary. And all the indicators. Okay. So there was one thing over and over and over again that I do. In here we had a bullish cross, step 1, space, step 2, tested the BBC, and up close right there. All right, step 3. A little tiny bit of divergence down here for step 4, so you could have gotten long on the up close right there on that dragonfly doji, or you could have waited for the up close above the trend line right here. All right, either one of those would have worked. Obviously, you would have had 4 ticks more if you took the up close on the dragonfly, but they both worked. Okay. Now let's see. Turned around, came over here. Same thing in the opposite direction. This is during the break. It did this. Okay, but the same thing in the opposite direction. What it's doing right now, and I just wanted to look over at the Russell, because where we left the Russell was on the up close. If we close up above that trend line right there, you would want to get long, but it closed at the trend line, not on an up close above the trend line. It's a dragonfly doji right here, but it's in the wrong context. Dragonfly dojis need to be at the bottom of the swing, like down here. Okay. That's it. That's all there is. This was gold. We ended up plus, what were we this morning? Plus 7 ticks on gold. All right, the NQ, we had 2 trades on the NQ, I think, that we took this morning. Maybe 3. 1, 2, nope, just 2. All right, there were a few opportunities in here. Right here, I mean the same exact thing. Again, if you look at it here, there's 1. There's a space in there. There's 2. The pullback, 3. Divergence down here, 4. 4. The up close right there was a spot to enter. I missed that this morning. Otherwise, I would have highlighted it or taken it. But that was a spot to enter. Now, it came back here, tested the BBC again, so it did the whole thing over again. This is still step 1. Step 2 is the space. Step 3 is the pullback down test of the BBC. Check down here, divergence, got it, check. So now you can just take the up close right in there. And if you wanted to wait for the close above the trend line, well, it just happened on the same bar that time. So it worked out well. Right in here, there was no trading opportunity in here because the green line's in between the black line and the MA1. So as nice as that looks like it worked out, there was no opportunity. I did take this one over here and took a little bit of profit on that. I thought there was one, I know there was one that I took shortly after the open, and I ended up taking a break even on it. I think I was short on crude and long on the NQ, or long on the NQ and short on crude, or something like that. But it all comes out the same. All right, then right here, pull back down, tested the BBC, up close right there because we didn't have divergence, right? We had step 1, step 2, step 3, not step 4, so you need to close above the trend line. So the spot to enter on this one would have been right here. Okay, then it got all choppy in here. Over here, because, well, we did have some bullish divergence, but we had a red cycle, so you needed to close above this trend line. We never got to close above the trend line, so we ended up staying out of all this chop in here. I shorted over here on the down close right here. This was a down close below the trend line, and I got out at break even on that. I didn't actually draw the trend line on there, but I eyeballed it. Right over here was another one. Over here was another one. All right, and that was the NQ this morning. So we ended up plus a few ticks on, oops, the NQ. That was soybeans. That was soybeans. Anyway, so we just covered all the soybeans. We ended up plus a few ticks on soybeans. How do we determine when and where to draw my trend lines? Well, I base it upon the prior swing, the approach to the BBC, and if it changes on the approach to the BBC. Okay? I've done a whole thing about that, Patrick. It's in the members area. Of course, you have to be a partner and a member to get in there. But in the members area, in the last workshop, for instance, I think I did a whole thing on it, how to draw the trend lines. And as price starts pulling back down, I mean, you know you have the top bar right here, so you know you have your beginning point. And as price is pulling back toward the BBC, then you can draw your trend line down the first bar, but if you have a wick that goes up above it, you have to redraw your trend line. And when you draw it, if you have a close up above it, well then you know that's what you're looking for to get long. If you don't have a close up above it and you just have a wick with a down close, well then you have to redraw the trend line using the wick as the next level down instead of here. If it hits the BBC, you stop moving the trend line. Then you just leave it in place and you wait for the close above it. All right, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. All right, so that is the NQ. Gary, no, there's more to it than a lot more to it than that. Just that, the crossover? No, there's a lot more to it than that. That was the soybeans, and I said we were plus 3 ticks on the NQ by accident. We were plus 3 ticks on the NQ and on the soybeans, so we gained 3 ticks there, and got a break even on that one right there. One thing worth pointing out, though, here on the soybeans, when we entered this trade, this one right here, we entered it 82 and a quarter is where we got our entry on that. And I was saying that because the slingshot wasn't giving us any support in the trade right here, I didn't know if it was going to get through this level right here. Dwayne had said, look for it to get up to 87. He had an area up here at 87 he was looking at, and he said, look for it to get up to 87. And I trailed my stop up, and I got stopped out with plus a few ticks in here. We finally did get the support over here for the move of the slingshot. The cycle started moving up right in here. It did, Dwayne nailed it when he said, look for 87. I just wanted to point that out. There was a second opportunity to get long in the same direction right here. So if you took a little bit of profit on this one, you could have done it again right here. All right, done the same thing over again right there. I did take this short over here. It didn't go anywhere. I did point this short out, but I didn't take it. It was right at the end of the morning session. I also pointed this short out at the end of the morning session. All right, that was soybeans. We ended plus 3 ticks in beans. Now the NQ, we took a couple of trades on the NQ. The first one was a break even right in here, and it was a long. It was a long on the NQ and a short on the crude oil were our first first trades of the day, and we ended up taking break even on both. This one right here, we took the close above the trend line right here because the divergence wasn't there. The cycle was red. Close above the trend line, we took it. We ended up getting out break even. It eventually went up and did what we thought it was going to do. Over here, you see you have 1, 2 is the space, 3 is the pullback, but when you get the pullback, you have blue on the cycle. So in this case, you need to draw the trend line. I wasn't paying that much attention to the NQ at this point right here, but you need to draw the trend line, and once it hits the BBC, you stop extending the trend line. All right, so the down close was right in here. Depending on what you had on for risk, you may have stayed in that a little while. You may have got out break even. You may have stopped out. I didn't take the trade. I wasn't really looking at it all that much. Over here, you had 1 is the cross, 2 is the space, 3 is the pullback, down close, 4 down here is the divergence. So you could have shorted right in here. Depending again what your risk was, 27.40 was the spot to get in. 42, it pulled all the way back there. I use 8 ticks risk. If I would have put that trade on, it would have stopped me out right there. It eventually went where I wanted it to go, but I didn't put the trade on. Let's see, bullish cross right here, come back down, tested the BBC, up close. Now, right in here, it was an up close above the trend line, and that's why I got long. I took some profit on that. I took 3 ticks profit, and it eventually did what I expected. Now, when you get all this divergence down here, the green line moving away from the cycle, what you anticipate is that the green line is going to move back into the cycle. All right, and it did just that. I just realized what time it was, and I want to get Mike Reed in here. On the ES, we had this right here. All right, tested the BBC, bullish divergence, just needed the up close. I suggested getting long in there, and over here was another trade right here that you could have taken right here. We were pretty close to the swing pivot right there. Didn't have a lot of energy moving up, but it did move up 1 point off of that. All right, the YM, just quickly over here on the YM, there was a spot over here where Dwayne had asked me if I had done anything on the YM, and I said I haven't yet. And he said, well, look for it to get up here to 325. He said once it hits 325, you should see it go up even more. It did hit 325. It pulled back, and it gave us 2 entry opportunities right in here for this move up. Okay, it actually gave us more than 2, but right there immediately it gave us 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give us 6 entry opportunities for that move up from 325 for a 75 tick move. All right, 325, 25. Right, the spot was over here, 325 up to 352, 27 tick move. All right, that's it. I'm going to wrap up the recording here. If you sorry, my timing wasn't good. Okay. Mike, I'm wrapping it up right here. All right, if you have not taken the free trial with us, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go to www.cfrn.net/apply, sign up for the free trial. If you have and you want to become a partner, get into tonight's partners meeting. Just send me something at support@cfrn.net. Tell me you want to become a partner, and I'll send you off all the information you need. Okay? And with that,